Chairperson. At the outset, Madam Minister, I trust that you and your department are painfully aware of a recent approval by the Department of Mineral Resources of an application to explore for phosphate by the drilling of prospecting holes across the West Coast, most sensitive marine habitat, and its richest fishing grounds off Langebaan. Minister, you will recall that this follows recent amendments to our mining legislation, which now disempowers your department and empowers the Department of Mineral Resources with authority to regulate, consider, and approve environmental assessments relating to mining activities. Minister, I would appreciate it if you would respond to and comment on this when you reply to this debate. In retrospect, are the amendments in the best interest of our environment and sustainable development, or are we sniffing a mining gate? Madam Minister, I'm seeking your views and comment, given that the Department of Mineral Resources will also shortly publish regulations governing the exploration process for shale gas in the environmentally sensitive Karoo. Minister, the mandate of the department is onerous and multifaceted. At the outset, Minister, COPE would like to commend the department's work on working on fire program, but our sterling work throughout our country. It truly represents a public program that meaningfully adds value whilst affording citizens employment and skills development. COPE wishes to once again convey its condolences to those pilots and firefighters who perished, saving our property, environmental and farmlands and lives. Madam Minister, I'd like to agree, and I'd like to say I wish we could say this, not on our watch. But the reality is, the number of rhinos butchered by poachers has increased this year despite all initiatives to date. We are currently in May, but more worrying, of the 393 rhinos that's been butchered this year, 290 of them were lost in the Kruger National Park. It is not just the rhinos that are threatened, it's also our elephants. We are losing the war, and the buck stops with you. Have you considered the Vicuna parallel, which would empower communities, save our rhinos and also our elephants? We can learn from the Sheldrick Foundation as well as the Kenya government. According to the Institute for Security Studies, current water demand in the country exceeds supply, and the gap is expected to grow over the next 20 years. But Minister, this is a grave situation that does not require political obfuscation. On ENCA last night, your counterpart, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, I almost used another word there, downplayed the situation, claiming that the demand for water only amounted to some 75% of supply. This is not true. So, Minister, can you tell us what is the real situation? I am receiving reports of continued sewage spillage into tributaries feeding into the Midmar Dam, the primary source of water for Pietermaritzburg and Ngongondlovo. This is not a new issue. It has been festering for years. I cannot help but think that your department is toothless and that the system of cooperative governance between environmental affairs, water and sanitation, and the local and district municipalities is failing. Minister, I see that I'm running out of time. You can't let it go. Minister, you are on this boat. Your family is on this boat. My family is on this boat. And so is the students from Settlers High School, Adler and Claire, on this boat. I'm asking of you, please keep it afloat.